There are challenges that you can get that can get you a little boost, but you really like the graphics. Has no single player aside from challenges, which are dead easy. It looked like it required too much investment. We should give it a go. One stream or something. Hardy's brusque countenance told the tale of his gambling adventure with soldiers. As they left, he told her he had won some money, but more importantly, he had acquired a pair of loaded dice. In Cassandra's skilled hands, any dice game would now be less of a gamble. Nice. Good job. Loaded dice. Oh, 50 luck. Thank you. Actually, who had the golden bullet? You get the loaded dice. Uncharted games are amazing. They're basically a child of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. Yeah, they sound really fun. Hazards. Let's fix the hand. Apparently I have also something. Heal the injuries for 100, and I'm gonna go buy one of the the holy musket, and a doomsday watch, and a repeater rifle. Still need to go through them. Dumbledore dies, killed by a Balrog. Nice. Damn it, Hazards, now we can't play those games at all. Because we need to go gamble next. Upon leaving Adelante, Cassandra had an unnerving but all too familiar feeling. A powerful premonition that made her head ache for days on end. Well, let's see the premonition. Her skull blazed with pain as the vision took shape. Was this the thing I was suffering from a couple days ago as well? Cassandra saw a stagecoach loaded with expensive luggage against a gorgeous mountain backdrop. Suddenly a vulture's cry split the air. She looked up and saw several haggard birds circling overhead. As her premonition faded, she looked around for landmarks. She was positive she could pinpoint the location of the vulture's feast. A game that should be made is a game about Kingsman. You mean the movie, Isars? I haven't actually watched that, so if you mean the movie. My wife said it was pretty good. Following Cassandra's directions, the party soon arrived at the location of a stagecoach crash. The putrid smell of decay indicated the accident took place several days ago. The flock of vultures feasted on the well-heeled passengers. One of the birds looked up from its feast, fixing the company with a reumclair before slowly flapping skyward. Hardner began rummaging through the pockets of the dead, whistling casually as though he were picking daisies. Cassandra, finding nothing of interest, was beginning to regret coming when she spied a thin leather suitcase sitting in the dust. Opening the case, she discovered a document written in dark blue ink on thick paper. Adorned with the official stamps and seals, it appeared to be the deed to a silver mine somewhere in the Rockies. Cassandra pocketed it while her companions rummaged through the rest of the spoils. Some dried meat. You get that. So what do we do with the deed? The movie is very good. Does it have to include the bucket sex? Maybe. I should watch that movie. Let's start making some notes. What was the... No, yeah, I remember those. I wonder where you use the deed. Well, let's go to gambling then. Hardin led Cassandra to the notorious outlaw gambling den. The venue was set up in a cliffside cave in an ancient Indian pueblo. There were no lights on the outside, but Hardin pointed out 2 cars concealed against the crumbled walls, next to a narrow entrance with a thick black curtain. Inside they found a wide repertoire of gambling tables, an assortment of colorful, dangerous-looking characters, and an ample supply of liquor. Cassandra sat within a hearing range of a drunken prospector and eavesdropped on his story. The prospector claimed to own a map to a wreck of an old Spanish treasure ship. Hardin dismissed it as a bragging, but Cassandra was interested. Cassandra probed what the man's future held. Her initial attempts were inconclusive. Cassandra felt she was already losing her lucky streak. She went in. Cassandra saw the man suffer a violent death. Not just a violent death, it's an violent death. It thoroughly distressed her, but she obtained no useful. Let's just go. As the searing pain pierced her brain, she saw the prospector lying dead in an old shipwreck, surrounded by piles of gold. As the vision faded, she managed to recognize the landmark that pinpointed 3 possible locations for the wreck. She came back to the reality and nearly collapsed from exhaustion. Let's go check these. On its side, in the shallows, the shipwreck looked like a beached whale. When Cassandra's team headed inside, they found it filled with the dead bodies of its crew and passengers. The air was heavy with the stench of the dead. Cassandra knew the dangerous decomposing bodies presented. Nah, it's fine. Let's see the cargo holds, anyways. The cargo holds were filled with dark, scintillating rocks. Felicia became agitated, saying it was a pitch blend, the nausea-inducing, vitally draining the natives called Curse Rock. She ran out, shouting for the others to do the same. Hardin shouted after Felicia that she was a superstitious coward. She shouted back that Hardin was an overbold fool. Damn. Let's ignore them and look for actual valuables. Searching the dead was slow and taxing. Cassandra managed to find the captain's personal luggage. Along with some ancient photographs, Cassandra found a broken watch engraved with the name Franco Morales. It might be worth 100 pesos to a collector. She had resolved to look for more, but suddenly felt faint. After a brief moment of confusion, she fell to the ground unconscious. Cassandra awoke several hours later, nauseated and weak. Unable to travel, the company was forced to camp on the beach that day. Curse Rock sickness. -1 HP. Yeah, we can cure that. S-class violent death. Curse Rock, maybe that insanity rock from before? But that was used by the Inquisitor to make the Raum into a demon prince. The ancient wreck of a Spanish galleon sat in the small cove that looked harmless enough. The name on the bow read Amaya Calvo. The air smelled of dried seaweed and mold. Let's go check inside. Descending into the cargo hold, the team found crates filled with valuables and expensive materials. Much of the treasure had decayed with time, however, a good portion of silver and good objects could be salvaged with a significant amount of work. Cassandra decided it needed the money. As salvage continued, Hardin became wary. He told Cassandra that the longer they stayed there, the better chances someone would arrive, perhaps lay in wait and attack them once they had retrieved all the treasure. She suggested retreating with what they had now, rather than hope they could get away with everything. Hey Bobs then. Yeah, let's just take this and run. Cassandra and her companions abandoned the scene, leaving the rest of loot for others to plunder. What they recovered was only worth a couple thousand pesos, plus a couple thousands closer to their goal. Well, we did get 10,000, so maybe it was worth it. And we also got a card for it. Smell blood. You can smell blood now. And why isn't? What did you have? What? It wasn't showing that she had the card. Decent to take the fight as follows. I probably should have White Devil, but we are pretty close to having the money now. Actually, we probably would have had the money if you did fight. Oh well, let's see the derelict shipwreck here. On the sharp rocks of the bay sat a decomposing wreck of a caravel. Almost entirely disintegrated, they could barely make out the name of the ship. Louis... I don't know which one, what it is. Cassandra doubted it would yield much. Let's search it anyway. As he descended into the wreck, Hardin stepped on a sea urchin and had to be helped limping onto the shore. A closer inspection of the wreckage yielded an ivory comb and some golden teeth, worth 100 pesos or so. Hardin suggested there might be more valuables at the bottom of the bay, but that obtaining them would mean contending with more dangerous sea fauna. Paco, go for a dive. Cassandra's company disappeared beneath the sparkling water. After a number of reconnaissance dives, the swimmer submerged for close to a minute before erupting on the surface holding a small ornate chest. Inside, Cassandra found a collection of ivory pieces. They would be worth at least 1,000 pesos to a collector. What dangerous sea fauna? I don't know. What dangerous sea fauna you find in Mexico? Is there sharks? We need a bit more money. See if we can make some money here. Let's join a dice game. Standing by the game table, Cassandra felt weight of the dice in her hand. She decided to replace the dice with her gimmicked pair. Cassandra gave a discreet nod to Hardin, who loudly attracted the attention of a player sitting at another table. While all the players' heads were turned, with a swift movement Cassandra replaced the dice in her hand with a loaded pair. She easily won the round, earning 469 pesos. Sea cucumbers? Jellyfish, yeah, maybe. Other people. I don't think we should use the dice too much. I think that's not gonna go well. Let's see this high stakes poker table. A group of 4 men were sat at the table playing poker with professional-like silence. Cassandra had a feeling they were practicing ahead of the La Fortuna soiree. Cassandra put on a heavy accent and introduced herself as a Lydia Morozov. The 4 men were Noyan Togolzoglu, a weapons manufacturer, Dr. Fabian Fay, MD, Silvestre Ailman, a sawmill owner, and Pedro Ramirez, an oil broker. Cassandra asked to join. The men said she was welcome if she had something to gamble. Let's use the deed for the silver mine. Half a beer. Nice lip gloss. 465 pesos or half a cent. Nice. How much is 465 pesos in like dollars or euros or something? Cassandra's contribution was accepted with contented murmurs. They dealt her in. Cassandra decided to win at all costs, even if she had to resort to precognition. Predicting the game's outcome put significant strain on Cassandra's mind, but she left richer by... Okay, 12,000 pesos. Money.
Now that Cassandra had the necessary 25,000 pesos, she was ready to conquer La Fortuna's grand tournament.
24 and a bit, so nearly 25 euros. Nice. Probably changed a bit since 19th century. That's probably very true. You can't actually go to the Fate Trader now. They disabled buying shit when you have a lot of money. Nice. Let's go to the reception hall. Or a hamburger. Yeah, you could buy quite many burgers with that money. Or one really good burger. Something like 600 euros burger. Has to be pretty damn good. Cassandra and her companions arrived at the building where the poker soiree was to be held. The imposing building was made entirely out of cast iron and glass, a feat unparalleled in Mexico. They had some time to kill before the game started. Cassandra wandered the floor and sized up the other players while she waited for the tournament to begin. Better come with burger insurance? Yes. The room was filled with players from all corners of the land, tense with anticipation of the conflict to come. Finally, the cashier booth opened and players began to fork over the cash necessary to register. There was still time for Cassandra to mingle with guests. Yeah, let's go into the crowd. The soiree was first and foremost a social pageant, where the rich and the famous could show off their opulence to their peers and rub their success in the faces of their competitors. Though everyone appeared friendly on surface, the competitive tension in the hall was palpable. Let's eavesdrop. A corpulent, sweaty man in a tall hat was arguing with his wife. She said he would again lose their fortune, all the while he assured her that he had been working on his gambling skills. Still seemed to enrage her further. This seemed to enrage her further, and she launched into a tally of his various tells, while he denied all. One of Cassandra's competitors let his drink unattended while he showed off his new pocket watch. Cassandra thought back to the bottle of laxative she had obtained earlier. While crude and unfair, it would most certainly eliminate a player from the game before it even started. The gentleman returned to his drink, downing it in a single swallow. His smile lasted a while, but ultimately faded to a terrible grimace. He excused himself and rushed away at a sprint. Cassandra caught a glimpse of a middle-aged gentleman gazing at her with a cryptic smile. She returned the man's gaze and smiled back. A few minutes later, the man approached her, presenting himself as Jim Won. He commended her on her competitive attitude, alluding to her underhand activities in the reception room. Seeing her frown, he laughed and assured her he would not expose her. He said Cassandra reminded him of his younger self. He was looking forward to testing his skill against hers in the upcoming game. Let's pay the entry fee. Cassandra had just supplemented her 25,000 pesos when a slender Hispanic man in an impeccable tailcoat and top hat approached her with a grin. Cassandra guessed this must be Ricardo La Fortuna. As if reading her mind, he bowed and placed a gallant kiss on her gloved hand. La Fortuna presented himself and asked for Cassandra's name. She treated him to her Russian alias Lydia Morozov. La Fortuna bowed lower still and wished Lydia good luck in the upcoming game. She's curing him from alcohol? Yes. The first round of the game had 20 contestants divided among 4 tables. Among them was Jim Won. Cassandra realized her table only had 4 players. One must have been missing. What could have happened? She also noted that she'd been placed with the corpulent man whom she has seen arguing with his wife earlier. She was seated and the rules well explained. The 2 winners from each table would meet for the second round, which would determine the grand champion for the gala and the owner of a rare piece of jewelry being staked by Mr. La Fortuna himself. The chips were distributed, the cards were dealt, and the game started. Initially the game was casual and easy. Cassandra singled out 2 candidates for elimination and deftly defeated them using her acute gambling skills. Only one man was left at her table, and she knew his tells, having overheard his argument with his wife. She read him like an open book. Soon he was dispatched as well. The croupier congratulated Cassandra, telling her he would transfer her chip to the main table for the final round. There was an hour break between rounds 1 and 2. Sad thing to have some people missing. Yeah. New tactic employed by the Alcoholics Anonymous. Sneaking laxative into the liquor. Nice. The tournament was in a full swing. The losing tiers were dried by cheerful senoritas and gallons of alcohol, while the winners gloated, prayed, and luxuriated in the lobby. Cassandra looked around, sizing up her competition. One of the finalists discreetly retreated to his room. Intrigued, Cassandra followed him. As they left the party atmosphere of the crowd, the gambler accelerated his pace, crossing the steel and glass corridors of the palace with unusual haste. Then when he entered the hotel wing, he disappeared. Cassandra looked helplessly around the halls of the hotel. There were 2 rows of identical doors, one on each wall of the hall. One she noticed had lights shifting from underneath. As she approached it, she saw it had been left slightly ajar. She peered through the opening and, to her surprise, saw the man injecting himself something with a syringe. Morphine. The gambler lay on the bed, oblivious to everything around him. He was in a full rapture of a morphine shot. Cassandra slipped inside his room and gave him another injection of an even stronger dose. Yeah, just give the guy a morphine overdose. That's fine. And I thought we were playing a nice lady. Apparently not. Apparently Night Basilisk was correct. Cassandra hesitated, wondering if her lack of experience administering drugs might spell this man's demise. I've come this far, she thought, emptying the syringe. He certainly didn't protest. Rather, he closed his eyes and fell asleep with a blissful smile on his lips. Cassandra left a gentle kiss on his sweaty forehead and left the room. He's not gonna feel anything anyways. Yeah, subsequent. Yeah. Turning onto another of the palace's corridors, Cassandra was confronted by a tall man standing in her way. His gun trained at her heart. Cassandra knew in an instant it was Joaquim Perez, her pursuer, her tormentor, her personal agent of fate. Perez called her a treacherous witch and exclaimed that he dearly wished to see her hang by her worthless neck. Still, he said, stalling any longer would put his holy mission in jeopardy. Well, shit. Cassandra said she never asked for the gift. For her gift. It was, if that was what Perez thought made her a witch. We are all born who we are, she continued, and impugning anyone for being true to his or herself did as much good as pissing in the wind. Perez laughed. Cassandra's crimes clearly showed her soul was evil, corrupted by Satan. Yeah, you are saying that? A virtuous woman would not go around cheating people, telling lies, stealing property and butchering the innocent. Happens. Everyone makes mistakes. The Inquisitor had seen through her deceptions and justly ordered she be punished for her wicked deeds. Cassandra replied that either the Inquisitor was guilty as she was, or she was a saint. Perez blinked with surprise. It seemed Cassandra's words had unexpectedly rung true. Then he convulsed involuntarily, shedding sparks and white cracks of lightning before falling to the ground unconscious. Okay. A trio of neatly clad gentlemen led by Andrew Hardin emerged from the shadows. One of them was holding some sort of electric device that was emitting a waft of smoke. Hardin said they were the Protector's men. They had been hunting for Perez ever since the fiasco on Isla Soloakoyan. Let's go with that. The men tipped their hats to Cassandra, then carried the limp body away. Hardin escorted Cassandra back to the game. Once the break was over, Cassandra proceeded to the table. He's not gonna feel anything. Yeah. And orangeing people with morphine overdose. But who's counting? Yeah, it's fine. The players sat down to the final round of La Fortuna's poker tournament. Along with Cassandra, 3 other men were still in the competition. One defaulted when he failed to arrive at the designated hour. Cassandra recognized Jim Won from their conversation earlier in the lobby. The last man remained mystery. The names were exchanged, the cards were dealt, the game began. Isla Chocho thing? Yes. Tasers in Mexico? Well, this is a bit different, White Devil. The Protector's guys are working for the, well, Solomon is dead now, but they are from the Solomon's group. We don't know who the Protector is yet now. It's probably either the guy who started the game as, or his father. I would imagine one of those. But we don't know yet. But yeah, the Solomon was the crazy scientist guy, so tasers are probably not totally out of the question. The stakes in the final game were much higher, and so was the skill of the participants. But as the game progressed, Cassandra's chip supply diminished until she was on the brink of bankruptcy. She needed a decisive move to improve her situation. She could target Dr. Fabian Fay, whose stash was the smallest, or Jim Won, who had been doing extremely well thus far. At C-point, his skill seemed unmatched. There is actually quite a lot of typos in the game. They should patch a lot of the text. Let's take out the Fay. Dr. Fabian Fay was never fully held his cards. He lifted them slightly off the table and peeked at them. Every so often he would pick his fine mustache, but Cassandra quickly determined it was not to tell. He kept his composure admirably throughout the evening. It was clear this was not his first game. Let's use the premonition. Before long, the doctor had no more chips on the table. He stood up, bowed, complimented each of the players, and thanked them for his worthy entertainment. Then he strode off into the lobby to relax. To win the tournament, Cassandra still had one more opponent to defeat. Jim Won was a true master of the gambling table, smart, funny, and courteous. He was impenetrable to conventional scrutiny. If Cassandra wanted to defeat him, she would need to use her unique ability. Shit. We should not have used the ability yet. Too tired to be able to count on clairvoyance. Jim Won played like a true ace, seeing through Cassandra's bluffs, reading her reactions with a near-divine brilliance, and never making a betting mistake. When he took her last chip, she expressed her admiration, and he replied with a string of compliments. He promised they would talk after the game. The tournament had finished, and though Cassandra did not win, Ricardo La Fortuna congratulated her on an excellent game, and the two chatted for a while. Though La Fortuna had other businesses to attend to, he invited Cassandra to visit him at his residence whenever she liked. As Cassandra made to leave, Jim Won approached her and offered to buy her a glass of port. Sure. Mr. Won was visibly delighted. He ordered drinks as he told Cassandra about his younger years with a refreshing bluntness. Won had run away from home at a young age and wandered to the west, finding no shortage of trouble and becoming an infamous gambler and duelist. One fateful day, however, he played against a powerful man, taking a fortune from him. The man was furious, telling Won to leave out the country and renounce gambling on pain of death. That's when Won headed to Mexico. He had been miserable ever since, but when he had heard about the tournament, he had decided he didn't care anymore. It was the risk it was worth the risk to play again. What else was life for? He looked at her wistfully. He told her that he saw his younger self in Cassandra. She had inspired him to take his guns off the hook and go looking for trouble again. If there was one person he would love to ride with, it was her. Nice. Oh, we can exchange this guy to the Paco. Let's do that. Paco is not that good. Load the save you made before entering the tournament. It auto-saves. So I don't have a save before that. What is this? Mammoth rifle. If the elephant rifle does not have enough stopping power, here's something heavier. That is not too bad. Saves coming is the best coming. Ace of clubs, Jinx. Your shots don't replenish enemy luck, plus nearby enemies lose luck all the time. That is actually pretty damn awesome ability. Always save the scams. Get the Fate Trader back now. I don't really need anything from the Fate Trader. Hacienda Rossetti. Let's see this. The Rossetti Hacienda was a lush residence with a beautiful garden surrounding it. The highlight of the Hacienda was an amazing collection of firearms. Mr. Rossetti said he was willing to part with some of his specimens for the right price. Some extra cash would help him acquire even more interesting objects. Let's see what he has. 18 shooter. Oh, 12 cage. That is very good. Heavy pepper box is also really damn good. You can have my shit guns. Thank you. This is an awesome gun. And so is heavy pepper box. Cassandra strolled over to La Fortuna's home. In contrast with the reception hall, the hacienda was quite modest. Cassandra and her companions were greeted politely by Mr. La Fortuna, who offered refreshments and small presents as a token of his appreciation. He and Cassandra had an amicable chat, discussing politics, art, and fashion, as well as Mr. La Fortuna's various undertakings. La Fortuna's expression became cautious as he explained that his relationship with the Protector had deteriorated over the past few months. He had finally resolved to help the Mexican Navy chase this undesirable man from their country. Cassandra suggested she could help if La Fortuna were interested. He asked what she had in mind. Cassandra said she had a talent for eliminating inconvenient characters from the earth. Lying brazenly, she revealed that she was a successful contract assassin with many hits on her resume. If Mr. La Fortuna was taken back by this news, he did not show it. He merely smiled and responded that Cassandra's help wouldn't be required. He had a train loaded with mercenaries that was heading toward the coast at that very moment. They would seize the island within hours. Cassandra nodded and wished him a swift victory.
La Fortuna's mercenary force had to be prevented from reaching the bay. Hardin suggested they blow up the train. Cassandra concurred. They just needed to procure the explosives.
Obtain TNT. The Coleman operated day and night. With constant excavation, dynamite was in frequent use and ample supply. Hardin suggested he steal some. Cassandra felt she might be able to persuade the miners to give her some. Let's try to convince. Cassandra approached the foreman and pretended to be an inspection officer sent by the mining company. She would need to inspect sample of their dynamite. The foreman was suspicious and demanded proof. Let's try to use the charisma. Apologizing for the formality, the foreman handed over the explosives. Nice person. Yes. Let's go blow up a train. Set an ambush in the train yard. Cassandra and her companions arrived at the ambush site. They planted the dynamite and waited for the train. The charge would be just enough to derail the train without causing further damage. There was still some time left. Planting more dynamite would cause more damage, but might destroy any valuables carried on the train. Fortifying the area would give them an advantage, but would cut off some escape routes. Let's fortify the area at least. The train yard had been fortified. It gave the party better positions and more cover. What? Suddenly they heard the train's whistle from beyond the bend. About those typos.
Survivors crawled from the ruins of the train wreck. The team readied their weapons with killing intent.
Nice. Crash the train into a building. Leave no witnesses. Nice. Let's see. Start with the chain kill. Well, that was a great chain kill. Shadow kill that guy. I'm gonna golden bullet this guy for 8 damage. That is more. A lot of high health enemies on this one. There we go. Have Jinx, everyone. It's time for a holy musket. It's actually time for a tactical withdraw. Oh yeah, I cannot move. 60 luck and still didn't hit. I need some damn grenades soon. That Jinxed is so nice. Is there any ricochet objects to use? Yeah, we can do this. Three shots for the win. Hello, I have shotgun. And you're dead. Or you're not dead. Wonder if I can shadow kill that now. I can golden bullet the dude though.
Cassandra looked relieved when the last mercenary was finally dispatched.
Nice. That golden bullet is so damn OP. Queen of Clubs. Jack of Spades. Shriek. Nice. Look at Shriek.